Hello Fanatics, welcome to another trading setups breakdown. Today is the 7th of October. It is Tuesday, so we're going to break down ES and we can also check out gold. So it is a short trade that I took today. If we just quickly have a look at the TradeZella, there is the trade today. So the first trade of the week so far. The month is green. Last month was also green. The previous month was also green. So we are on a good run. So let us break it down. Now, I'm always going to start from the daily time frame, although I'm scalping the futures, as you're going to see right now. I'm always starting from the daily time frame. And I'm also looking at order flow and the positioning of price. So we have been going pretty nicely higher, candle after candle. However, what I spot right now is that there are no imbalances on the daily time frame. So literally there is right now nothing very important to potentially for the price to tap and to reverse. So I'm kind of really 50-50 on the daily. However, I had marked this high, that is a daily liquidity point, okay? And also yesterday on Monday, we had an inside bar. And what that tells me immediately is that potentially today on Tuesday, we can have a breakout somewhere. But what we had in that case is a double breakout. So again, you never know, you always have to flow. Dropping onto the hourly time frame here, we kind of initially in the morning when I was doing the outlook for my community, we had this hourly bearish imbalance. I was like, okay, let's see if this is going to follow through. And yeah, in fact, the market actually took out the liquidity at the low here. That is the Asian low. And then it reversed to take out liquidity at the highs. And then because it did not create anything bullish here on the hourly to potentially continue higher, and this being all-time highs and throwing a very nice rejection, we just absolutely sold off. Okay, so how we could have traded that? I'm gonna go to the 1 hourly time frame. So there's that hourly zone. We took out Asia low. London high expands and attacks the liquidity. So the only thing we kind of had that the market can potentially like push higher from was this very small 1 hourly bullish imbalance. And you can see we just absolutely destroyed that. Like if I keep that 1 hourly bullish imbalance here, you're gonna see that on the lower time frames, there were just no reaction, okay? And then as for my liquidity, the opposing targets that I'm going to be going for, the first one is going to be London low. The second one is going to be this low. Third one, this is pretty much where the market opened. There was still a gap that was unfilled. And then ultimately this massive low. And we can see all of them got absolutely collected. Okay. So basically what I do on futures is I am trading the 10-minute time frame a lot. I use 15-minute and 10-minute, and I use 2-minute and 1-minute for entries. Kind of, it really depends. But you can see, for example, here from the top, that 1 hourly zone, it got tapped. Kind of, this here was a very decisive area. We have the 1 hourly bullish imbalance. We have the daily view up. So that view up is anchored to the daily open. This is what I use for overall direction, okay, on the higher time frames. And you can see like we were pretty stuck here, right? The EMAs were also pointing bullish, or we're tapping into the lower ones, so it was kind of very 50-50. But then after we got that bearish engulfing candle right here, if I can actually mark it like that with a bearish, let's say, like that, that is when I got into a short bias, okay? Unfortunately, I missed that drop because I didn't get a textbook entry, but then the market created a 10-minute bearish imbalance, pulls back into it, and then attacks the final liquidity, which was basically my trade. So if I take it right now on a 2-minute chart, there was, for example, trade number 1 here. Now, something that I forgot to mention is that I'm also using the 30-minute opening range. Okay, so there are a lot of statistics that you can research about the opening range, but my approach to the opening range is very simple. I'm looking for a breakout, the famously called ORP, right? Opening range breakout. And I do a 30-minute ORP because the 5-minute is too low. The 15-minute is kind of 50-50. So I do a 30-minute ORP because then I can start actually trading at 10 a.m. Eastern. And that is when a lot of volatility starts kicking in, right? And then if we have a breakout above or below that ORP, that kind of also gives me a lot of confirmation that, okay, we could potentially continue in that direction. And then I also use an initial balance, which if it also breaks, then we continue in that direction. So if I go on the 2-minute time frame, so for example, this here was the first entry. I also plot a New York view up here. So that is, I plot a view up from 9:30 and I have standard deviations of that view up. That really helps me to identify potential targets and where the market can potentially react from. You can see taps, reacts, taps into the red line, reacts here, right? Taps, reacts. It's pretty precise. And yeah, we see sellers taking control. However, here we're still tapping into that daily bullish view up and that 1 hourly zone and too many things. So I avoided that short. And then the market flushed lower, flushed lower. Here it provided another short signal. However, the entry confirmation candle swept a lot of liquidity and also tapped into my second standard deviation. So that was not a great trade according to me. But then it just absolutely dumped to hell. That guy, it went for a 4-hour. So not sure if I would have trailed it. I have a trailing strategy on the 30-second time frame. So that probably would have resulted in a pretty good risk to reward. However, then you can see if I quickly go and take out my 10-minute zone and plot it on this chart here, we pull back into that 10-minute zone, great. Retesting the EMA is great. Standard deviation is away from us, great. We have liquidity available here, great. Okay, and what we also had is a entry confirmation here, bearish engulfing candle on the 2-minute, also creating a 2-minute imbalance. However, what I also use here as further confirmation is a Bookmap and really looking at the order flow. So exactly where I executed this order was right here at 11:28. Okay, and you can see there were like 1,000 contracts entering from that zone, and basically we tapped into this level here, which is 67.60. You can see here there were a very big cluster, a very big order block of orders. The market tapped it and it gave us that pullback into my 10-minute imbalance. Okay, so these buy orders got absorbed, and then a lot of sellers started to populate the market here. So these are sell limits, these are passive sell orders, so they're not like market orders. This is telling you where people are potentially setting their sell limits and where the market can potentially sell off from, okay? But then as I started seeing the market falling with the bearish bubbles, literally signifying market executions, it's not limit, this is the aggressive sellers. And you can see like when this big bubble came in with the 1,000 contracts, all the passive sellers started to disappear. And now what that tells me is that if people had limits here, if they wanted to enter here, right now they're going market order in. So they canceled their limits and this is where I entered, okay? And the first stop for price was this cluster here around 67.60. I'm looking at this graph right here. The market tapped, gave us a little bit of a reaction, and then the very, very big cluster right here, right at 67.50. So that is basically my target. And I was looking at this overall range to potentially take my profit. The market responded from there and then went back once more, and then it started forming a lot of support levels here, and then we started pulling back. But if you pretty much again take this to the chart right now, this zone that I looked for is exactly here. 67.50 is where the zone is, but I pretty much took that cluster of orders here and I took my profit for a 1.88R. And if I actually take my trade away right here so you can check it out, right? There it is, from here to here, right? So yeah, that is the trade. Then it actually provided 2 more shorts. However, I did not take them because right now I was aware on Bookmap that we came into that massive, there were so many buyers here and they got filled on a lot of selling pressure, right? And then you can see the market starts to accumulate. There were a lot of buy orders stacking below, right? And this is something that I'm still observing is that when you have such a floor of price, you can see price never broke below these orders. Even getting to the current price action, they're still down there. So they acted as a very strong support. So us trying to potentially chase it lower and to expect that these orders are going to get taken, not very high probability. All right. So that is, yeah, literally for the trade for today. I didn't take these 2 trades. They wouldn't have actually hit take profit because I would have looked for some more bearishness. I definitely could have taken that one, although that was not the best trade for me. In terms of goats today, goat provided an interesting setup. So if I check the hourly time frame, like we had, I'm not gonna delete anything because I still have to make a video for my community here, but we have that hourly bullish zone. All right, and I was looking for the market to invalidate that hourly bullish zone. We actually had an invalidation here with a break of reaction. So this is where the hourly tapped in, reacted, and then it broke. And then from here, I was actually more interested in sells. However, I actually had a one-on-one today with a member of my team, and we spotted that she was taking a lot of like you see, okay, first signs of potential sell-off, let's go down, right? You see, okay, we're going to go down. No, right? When the market is in a massively bullish market, massively bullish, okay? Like any of these short pullbacks, these kind of what seems like to be, okay, we're dumping. It is just short blips, right? It's dips. If you're trading stocks, gold is very similar to stocks, right? If you get these sort of dips, don't trade, right? And then I started looking at these 1 hourly bearish imbalances and I wanted to see them fail. And then if I go to the 15-minute time frame, there is the 1 hourly imbalance where it gets tapped, 15-minute created, taps in, and then here we actually got this candle confirmed the break of that 1 hour imbalance. That is what I call break of reaction entry. That was the entry for me. However, I did not take it simply because we were entering into another bearish zone, and I kind of doubted a little bit on that bearish zone. However, my community are trading the CFD charts, okay? And on the CFD charts, if I go to check out the CFD, there was here a very little 15-minute bullish imbalance, and that 15-minute bullish imbalance was driving us towards the Asian range high, being also a what I call a no struggle area. What is a no struggle area? Where there is nothing to stop price towards running there. All right. And if you actually want to see, there it is. So we have, for example, somebody in gold, right? Morpha to buy started first. Borja entered, Akos entered, Morpha, Tom, and Hamza. And yeah, so all of them got a take profit. Even Keith, I believe, took the trade. Yeah, he then rushed into another 50-minute gold after that all-time high was taken, so that is a bad thing. But he also did take that long, and again, all of these are live executed trades. And yeah, so that was a pretty good trade, but I did not take it because I'm currently trading the futures of gold, and gold, you can see here, it did not have that bullish imbalance. So I was waiting actually for this lower one to tap, but it did not, and then it just expanded towards all-time highs. And then there was another entry from a 1 hourly bullish zone. So another 1 hourly bullish zone got tapped. We had a retest of our EMA, so the EMA on the 5-minute time frame, and we also had a 1-minute market structure shift with a 1-minute bullish imbalance coming out, breaking above the EMA as well. That also ran very nicely for 1.5 hours, but I did not also take that one because I was focused on futures already. So yeah, on gold, haven't been performing great lately. I actually had a little bit of a losing streak back in September last month. So really looking to pick up a little bit more steam and really get that nailed down, as I'm kind of more focused on futures as well. I'm kind of stopping too much with Forex, although today, for example, you provided 2 amazing short trades. I had a member, Borja, who capitalized a lot on them. But yeah, so that is gold, that is ES. Beautiful trade here on Bookmap. It was very clear to observe all of this. So I'm doing this for my own journaling as well, so I can review it back. But yeah, pretty much you can see all the sell orders here starting from around 10:30 when I was getting more sell bias. However, I didn't get my model. And you can see all of these bearish bubbles, right? That just suggests selling pressure. We had a very big buy here at 67.74, and the market just absolutely ate that buy, right? Look at that. It's coming into that big cluster of orders with 2,000 orders. You can see here volume. It says volume 1917, right? So it absolutely ate that zone, and then it flushed into the next support. And yeah, pretty much when I saw the trend was established, I just looked to see if the sellers are going to persist, if the volume is going to get there, and if also I'm going to be getting a take profit for these buy limits. Okay, so that is for today. I'm gonna keep doing this potentially more for myself, and also to see how I trade and to get an impression on that. But yeah, that is ES today. That is gold. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want to see more.